Ayo, it's Samesies. I hope you're having a good day. So I'm making this mostly for one of my friends. He was having a really hard time with Wailing Caverns, and I don't blame him because this place is not fun. So this will be more or less just a run through of Wailing Caverns, and I'm going to briefly talk about the add-on that I've found and got on my screen here. It's called Carbonite. So, real quick, the Wailing Caverns is pretty straightforward as far as the journey in. Like, once you get to the cave entrance, you basically just follow the curve to the right, and you can't go wrong. You'll see the portal almost immediately. If you follow it to the left, or if you go straight, you will see the portal, but it's a little bit longer, and there's a lot more mobs that way. So just take a right when you come in, and that's like a general, in general, a good rule for a place, and in general for mazes and in real life. If you are ever in a maze, you've probably heard of this before, but you put your right hand or left hand on the wall and don't take your right hand off the wall, and that will eventually that way you don't backtrack and you don't go over the same area multiple times. So it's just kind of a tip. So here I'm going to go to the left. So I'm going to keep my left hand on the wall. And in Wailing Caverns, you need to kill. There's a lady and 3 lords, and I think that there could be 2 ladies and 2 lords, but there's 4 bosses that you have to kill. I think that they can change depending on chance, like when you zone in. But that first one is super easy. You zone in, walk down the ramp, and it's right there on the left. The second one that I'm going to show you here is also relatively easy. This spiral is kind of hard to mess this part up. You just follow the spiral. And another tip for finding, and this one might be a little bit less of a super helpful tip, but if you see mobs that you haven't killed before, you probably haven't gone that way, right? Makes sense. But you can also right click on a mob and you can mark it so that you can vaguely remember where you went and where you just were, if that makes sense. Like, leave it alive. Mark the mob, leave it alive, and run by it. And then if you see that mob, then you'll know, hey, I just passed by the circle, so don't run by the circle again, you know? And the icons, you can see icons through the doodads and through the walls sometimes in dungeons, so being able to see the icon. Here we go. This is the next dude. Lord Corbrain is the one that I got this time. But being able to see, so like if I didn't know where a boss was, but you know what the guy's name is, right? And if you don't know what the guy's name is, you can either Google it, or you can load up Atlas Loot or Atlas or a number of things. But anyway, get the guy's name and do /target, and then target the mob. So if you can't target him, you're nowhere near close, right? So get close, do your target /target, and target the boss, and right click on his portrait and put an icon over his head. And then, you know, I stay away from the skull and the X icons because they're harder to see through terrain. But like the orange one or just the triangle, any of the bright ones really are a good bet, because most of the terrain in WoW is dark, so you'll be avoiding that dark situation, and it'll pop out like crazy. So that's just something that I do sometimes if I'm really struggling. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So I killed those 2 on that side and ran across the river, and this is the other side. This is the hard part, okay? So if you look on the mini-map, it becomes much more clear. I cannot recommend this add-on enough. Again, it's called Carbonite. It's amazing. It actually has working mini-maps for a good chunk of the dungeons that I've been to, so that's pretty freaking sweet. But, like, it's not perfect, as you see here. There's layers over layers, but if you can pick apart and slowly, like, you can see the green terrain that I'm walking on the minimap right now is underneath that red terrain. Right? Now I've popped back out, and now I'm going like through this next curve. So if you're careful with how you interpret the layers, you can kind of pick it out, but it still is hard. Here you want to make sure you go under this pass, because there's one of the lords that you have to kill is back here. He's way off in the corner. Way tucked back here. Yeah, Lord Pythas. Cool. Awesome. I'm just going to mark him just so you know where he is over in the corner. And again, look at the mini-map. You can see he's tucked way back there. And I'm sure that there's multiple ways that you could take this dungeon, but this is the most clear, concise run that I was able to do, and I did like 5 runs trying to film one where I didn't make a mistake, and I'm pretty sure I just stutter step at one point, but I'm going to stop talking so you can see. So if you see this landmark there, you're on the right track. You see all the bendy bends in the mini-map. You're on the right track. This is a little confusing because of all the pillars. So stare at your mini-map and see what I'm doing here. Because this part, it was hard. There's no way around it. One wrong turn there and you're lost and you're making a loop again over and over and over, and you'll never find the exit. When you come across this jump, this famous-ish jump, because it was torture to do, like there, I literally almost failed the jump. You know? I would have been super, super mad at myself because everything so far in this run's been good, you know? But yeah, that jump, do not fail a jump because you have to run back a good 3 or 4 minutes at least. Maybe not that bad. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes. It's just like, oh, so close, you know? So here, when you start seeing these piles of rocks, that's another good sign. Lots of piles of rocks or skulls. I think they're rocks. And then you'll come across this little drop down. Drop down's good. Just don't drop all the way down because there is a gap. Make sure you jump or run. Don't just like stutter step off the edge. Got some police action outside. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if the mic's picking it up. It's spicy outside. And then this is the last dude, Lord Serpentis. So, and he's right next to another boss. So I'm just gonna blast him and get this big Verdant up. Verdant? Harsh name. And then you jump down this little chasm, and then this chasm takes you to the gully, which is more or less by the entrance. If you remember this turtle bro who was at the start. So yeah, once you make it to the end, it's super easy to get back out. You just go forward a bit and go left, boom, you're back by the entrance. Now, to get the boss to spawn, the last boss, you're still not done yet. So that's why this place is brutal. So you kill those 4 bosses, you have to run all the way back out to the entrance and talk to this druid who's waiting here. But you just talk to this bro and start the event. And it's a lovely escort quest, of course. Kind of situation. It's not a quest, but it's just a little escort event. And yeah, so you have to protect him. Don't do what I did in my first live stream, and I think I AFK'd Like I started the event and I AFK'd and he died. So pay attention. It's a brutal escort quest, but I just figured that, hey, you know, I started the dude. I'll go talk to him and he'll make his way to the exit. Nope. There's stuff that spawns. So yeah, prepare yourself for that, or at least, you know, keep an eye out for that. I should say it's not hard. Even here, I think I alt tabbed for like 2 or 3 seconds, and they were wailing on him. I'm going to fast forward what happens from here because it's just literally an escort quest, and he runs across this stage, and that's it. The boss, you know, there's like 3 or 4 waves, something like that, and then he summons the boss. That's literally it, and then you'll get the achievement. If you need help with Carbonite, it's fairly straightforward to set up, but there are a lot of buttons. Just do one button at a time and see what it does. Basically, you right-click on the map and go to Minimap, and you can change it to full scale with a checkbox, and then make sure that when you're done in the dungeon, you check off the full scale. That's literally the entire instructions for how to use it, the way I'm using it here. There's a ridiculous amount of features, but yeah, if you have any requests for dungeons or anything like that, please pop it down in the comments, and I've got a checklist. I'm just gonna go through them all, but if you want one covered sooner rather than later, one that you're having trouble with, you know, hit me up, and maybe we can make a video or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. So anyway, have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching Exploring with Samesies.